I'm like, wait a minute. What if when I'm really sick, I swallow my own saliva? What the fuck? I'm like, you know what I mean? That's like a lot of viral load, right? When I
swallowing your own saliva?
Swallowing my own load. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's record the intro now.
So what did Milkless? Because I think we start with the name.
Two dads. We love our kids, but then we also need them to know that we're like pretty cool and it's not like a wimpy podcast. So, hey, hey, Milkless.
Hey, welcome. Hey,
Milkless. Call the audience, Milkless. What's up, Milkless? Max coming at you.
What if that's it? That's our first take.
All right, Matt, today we are talking about when the kids are sick. Not a fun time. Not a lot of weird shit happening. A lot of fluids. A lot of staying home from school, staying home from work, staying home from daycare. We're going to go through from the beginning in terms of prevention. And then we're going to get into when it happens, what to be doing, treating them. Let's start with the disclaimer that we are both medical doctors.
Fully licensed
a-holes.
Max, we have a podcast, bro.
We have a podcast. I knew.
Don't you know? That means we know about shit, bro.
Yeah. Okay, so whenever possible, we're going to be referencing sources so that you will see, we're going to be reading directly from things that you can Google and check the sources yourself. Anytime we are speculating and using our own sort of thoughts, we will try to disclose that as well. But generally just take all of it as bullshit. So don't sue us or anything.
But you're kind of trying to do the Cliffs Notes. You're trying to do some of the research for them.
Right.
It's nicey.
Some things I want to get into on this episode is like when to use Tylenol for a fever. As people know, there's babies get fevers a lot. And it's like really freaky with your first child that like you're not used to seeing a 102.
Yeah, babies get high fevers. Like little kids get high fevers. Like they would be like scary if they were an adult at that temperature.
Totally.
Yeah.
So let's get into the guidance on that. And then let's get into some of the nuance of like, are you an asshole parent if you lob your kid into daycare with some Tylenol? I got some interesting.
I like that you lob them because it just evokes an image of like, you're a problem for a little while. I'll be back later.
There's some bad shit with that. Anyway, so one of the things I want to get into that I've been doing a lot of like looking into, again, not a lot of research on this, but is viral load.
You said load?
Yeah, because there's exposure to new pathogens, right? So again, we're getting not into pseudoscience, but I don't have a study to round us out as we're diving in. So we are very unrounded as we're diving right now. But it is known that like if you have a high exposure, a high viral load at the time of exposure, you can have a faster onset of a virus. Sometimes like your kids will be sick and then it's like you don't really get sick. And then sometimes your kids get sick and then you get really sick. Mm-hmm. Now, one, that's going to have to do with your immune system. Are you sleeping well? Are you feeling good? Are you overworking? Are you stressed? How's your microbiome? How are you doing?
Is it all of the above?
Right.
Yeah.
Are you hungover? Like, how are you doing? If you're jacked, you're going to have a higher incidence rate of catching that. So general thing, and I think everybody knows this, everyone in the family should be, as healthy as possible. Everyone should be getting, eating their vegetables, eating good food, balanced diet, getting good sleep, hydrating. All these things are going to contribute to like you not getting sick as much. But there's something else.
I always think of just go outside. That's like a fundamental. It's like go outside, go play in the dirt. It's just, I don't know. It feels like the key.
But so here's something that I sometimes you have like wrong information in your head. Mm-hmm. Well, my information was always like, well, if someone's sick in my family, then we're all going to be sick. So it doesn't matter. I'll eat your food.
Fuck it.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think that's right because of initial exposure and viral load. So again, just to really dumb this down. And again, we're not doctors and we're not, pathologists.
You're just voicing the way you think about this.
Right. This is the way I think about it, but it is rooted in science. You can do your own research. Is that there's a difference when your kid comes home sick. if you are going to eat the rest of their meatball sub that they just slobbed all over, there's maybe 10 billion little pathogens on that.
Uh-huh.
That is going to have the chance to replicate faster because that's a higher exposure on day one.
Okay.
I am always eating my kids' leftovers, and I'm talking like in a big way.
I know this about you. Yeah. Yeah, waste not.
Even if they're sick. Mm-hmm. And because I was just like, yeah, we're all going to get sick. What's the difference? Like,
didn't you one time tell me that if your kids spit something out but hadn't really chewed it, you'd eat it? Or was that someone else?
That was me.
Oh, boy.
And if it's good food, if it's like General Tso's chicken, and it's like, it was too spicy, that's good meat. That's, anyway.
It's very, I don't know, something.
So it's a sample size of one. Listen, you don't want to live your life like me, but in that instance where I ate the General Tso's of a first grader, of a sick child, I was just like, who cares? Because like, you know, they're going to sneeze into the air. I'm going to get it anyway. Mm-hmm. But the difference there is like a sneeze into the air and maybe getting 100,000 of the little pathogens. It has the ability to like kind of catch up. It's a fair fight. Mm-hmm. If I eat the General Tso's chicken, which has a ton, my white blood cells don't have enough time to create the proteins or whatever that are going to bond to the virus that are going to fight it. At that point, they've already jumped over the wall of my castle. Trojan horses in. Trojan General, you know, Chow's chicken I'm fucked. And that's why, like, I think I'm getting sick more than the average bear because of that.
Because of that? Yeah. There is, with toddlers, sometimes it does, especially if you're co-sleeping.
They sneeze into your mouth.
It's a little bit like, fuck it. And they just like, I don't know, like my 2-year-old just licks me frequently. Did your kids do that when they were toddlers? Like they just walk up and just lick your pants legs?
I mean, not really.
We got the lickers, both my girls.
Lick?
Yeah, all the time.
Your pants have like barbecue sauce on them?
It's not just my pants. Sometimes it's my eyeball. Like it's like, not my 7-year-old anymore, but when she was a toddler. But yeah, they just lick shit. They're just like, I don't know. Was this the thing with your kids? Like you go into a gas station in like rural Texas and they're just like on all fours and you're like how many people, like, I don't know. Sorry.
That and also even just a 9-year-old, 7-year-old, 5-year, like we're in the bathroom and I sound like a germaphobe OCD person. Like don't touch anything. Don't touch. And then we're in the handicap stall because I'm like with 2 kids. They go to the bathroom. They're done. And I'm like, okay, guys, just wait for me real quick. Right when I turn around, they're like rubbing their hand along like the corner of the stall. And it's like, I'm like, no, guys, why?
Nothing in here. Touch the minimum number of things in here. Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, kids are a little bit gross sometimes.
But so I think that there's that. There's the...
But I want to get back to your argument. Don't just say fuck it. Like maybe when they're a toddler, it's like if you're co-sleeping, you're probably going to get it. But it's still worth it to try to avoid.
Even then.
Yeah.
Because I did some research into, hey, wait a minute. This is kind of like, I had to get through this because I started to see some circular logic. I'm like, wait a minute. What if when I'm really sick, I swallow my own saliva? What the fuck? I'm like, you know what I mean? That's like a lot of viral load, right? When I
swallowing your own saliva?
Swallowing my own load. You know what I mean? And that does it, ladies and gentlemen. Season 4, where Max swallowed his own episode. Load. No, but you know what I mean? When you, because when you think, well, I'm swallowing the viral load of a very sick person, right? But what happens is at that point, you're also swallowing all your own T cells or whatever. Like you're already equal. You're swallowing the same fucking thing. So it's anyway. This sounds very pseudoscience-y, but I swear this is rooted.
I honestly thought this whole tangent was just a setup for you to say I'm swallowing my own load. I thought that was the punchline. All
No,
right.
it wasn't. That was an accident.
Okay. So what? All right. So what's
The takeaway is yes, you can say, yeah, I'm probably going to get sick. But I think the difference between when your kids get sick and then it's like, oh, you didn't really get sick or you got a little sick, a little bit of a sore throat, is one, being healthy yourself, everyone in the family, getting good sleep, drinking good water. But then two, wash your hands, not share food if possible. What I'm going to try to do is, for the next period of time, I'm just not going to eat my kids' leftovers and see what the fuck happens.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, if you
Just see what happens.
Yeah.
One of the three of them always, every couple of weeks, has like a runny nose, and I'm just...
Well, I want to talk about that because like that is, and in Austin the allergies are really bad. Like it's this time of year, it's called cedar fever. There's all these like ash juniper trees that just destroy people. So like it always feels like someone might be sick or is getting over whatever they just had. Probably like 40% of the time, which makes it hard to make those judgment calls where it's like, do we go to this birthday party or do we go to daycare? It's like, well, I don't know. Like maybe they got a cold, but if I'm calling this a cold, they've had a cold for the last 6 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think like during COVID and immediately after COVID, it was like, if someone sneezes or coughs, like they're a pariah.
Yeah.
Remember how it used to be? It's just like, wash your hands. Don't sneeze in someone's face.
Yeah.
Like I still do this thing.
But they do
like,
though. I mean, they still like, they do.
Another thought, like I talked to my wife about this and she said like, she thought it might be too controversial. I don't know what people's thoughts are on vaccines. Like I just want to say for the record, we personally did not get the flu vaccine 2 years ago. We all had the flu. Sample size of 1. It was fucking horrible a year and a half ago. Real bad. And then this year we got the flu vaccine. It's only 37% effective, which will reduce your chance of getting it by 37%. But there was in the school, there was 1 in 5 kids on one day. 20% of the school was absent because of influenza A. Our kids didn't get it. We didn't get it. Just saying, there are some measures you can take if you are into that. And again, do your own research, whatever. I don't want to, I don't
Has
know.
Has the flu shot become controversial?
I don't know.
Vaccines in general are.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I was reading an article lately that pandemics generally make people more mistrustful of like institutional health. I like, it kind of makes sense. It's like, nobody knows what the fuck's going on. It's all happening real fast. You make a bunch of mistakes. And you have to tell people stuff that they don't want to hear. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, we're bad about getting the flu shot. It's kind of like, why are we? I don't know.
I think the reason we got it so bad a year and a half ago that we were just like, it was brutal. And scared one of our kids has, yeah. So the other thing, just like quick sidebar for shots, we've talked about shots in the past. My wife has this thing that's like a little like vibrator thing that you kind of put on the skin and you don't feel the injection. So she brought that. I Googled it. There's some for kids. It looks like a little vibrating like unicorn type thing. And you just put it on the arm. I'm not a huge fan of shots. I think we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. I get them. No problem. No crying. No crying in baseball, but, I
get shots. No, dude, I get shots. I get shots. I get shots. I mean,
no, but I look away. I don't like looking at it. I swear to God, she put the vibrator thing on my arm. Did not even feel it go in.
She put the vibrator thing, and then the way you said "did not even feel it go in."
Yeah,
made me think that something else had happened to you.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, our pediatrician uses those things, and they're good. The vibrating things.
So moving into fevers, especially for people with one kid or young kids, I remember this really kind of freaked us out at first because it's like, until you Google it, you think your kid's like dying. So I'm going to read from just like stanfordchildren's.org. Temperature above 100.4 is considered a fever. Rectally. When taken orally, I don't know why that's funny. It's not funny. When taken orally, a temperature higher than 99.5 is considered a fever if it's taken orally. But here's the thing. Under 3 months or younger, it's a fever if it's 100.4 or higher. Under 3 months, you don't want your kid to get sick when they're under 3 months. It happens, but just check with the PCP on that.
Yeah.
younger than age 2, according to stanfordchildren's.org, Stanford Medicine Children's Health. Younger than 2, a fever that lasts more than 24 hours. Age 2 and older, fever that lasts more than 72 hours. And any age, a fever repeatedly goes higher than 104 or is accompanied by other symptoms such as seizure, severe sore throat, severe ear pain, headache, unexplained rash, repeated vomiting, diarrhea, unusual sleepiness, or fuzzy behavior. So here's the thing.
You sounded like you were doing a commercial. Like those were the side effects for like...
Trying to get through it because I don't want someone to sue us because they're like, listen, he didn't say very fussy behavior. And my kid is very fussy behavior.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then here's the weird thing. Like, you only maybe want to use Tylenol or something or ibuprofen. Again, check, consult your doctor. But like, if it's uncomfortable for them, because if they have a fever of 101 and let's say you check with their doctor, the doctor's like, yeah, everything's fine. Like, you don't have to knock that down if they're not uncomfortable. With that said, if the fever is raised, like, and the child is uncomfortable, this is where, again, always check with the PCP.
I think the takeaway here is like kind of know what the upper limits, like if they have it for a long time or if it goes over 104. But like just a fever in general, it doesn't have to be scary.
Right.
Like, yeah. And it's not that uncommon for littles.
Right.
Yeah.
Under 2, if it's lasts more than 24 hours, 2 and older, more than 72 hours. So like, think about that. You can have a 3-year-old with 101 fever for 2 days. You don't need to call the doctor on that one, according to Stanford Medicine, stanfordchildren's.org. Here's like an interesting topic what do you do here? Did you guys ever do daycare?
Mm-mm.
Not really? Okay.
We never did.
Well, you don't know this dynamic. Maybe you know it at school, but there is this dynamic when you have a fever. You got to keep them home.
Mm-hmm.
If the fever initially rears its ugly head at the daycare, the typical move is they call you. You got to pick them up, and then they can't come back for over 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So they got to miss the next day, and then they can come back.
Okay.
So a lot of times young kids have fevers for the common cold. If you're an adult and you have a fever, you have like strep throat or the flu or fevers are kind of more serious as adults.
Or frailer.
Or the other way around. We don't get a fever for the common cold.
That's interesting. Whereas kids do.
Yeah. Here's the thing I'm talking about. Monday, it's daycare time. You're going to bring the kid. They have like a mild 99.5 fever. 100 is when they call you to send them home. Mm-hmm. It's like sometimes, maybe some people would toss a couple, toss a pill, toss a halfie, whatever the instructions say, a Tylenol down the hatch, lob the kid into the daycare, but then if you get that call 4 hours later, you are a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
You give them the Tylenol, and then 4 hours later at noon, they're all sweaty in a fucking snowsuit, and they spike 100.1. You get the call, and then the daycare provider looks at you like, you fucking Tylenol asshole. It's like, it wasn't. But then you are the asshole because then it's like, yeah, then they can't go to school Tuesday.
I guess that's what I was getting at before when I was like, I swear there have been like 6-week periods where my 2-year-old has had a runny nose. And it's like, well, she don't know how to fucking blow her nose and she's got allergies and she got sick, like maybe twice in there. Like you want it to be one way or the other. But the truth is there is this little fucking gray area where it's like, it's going to fuck up my whole life. And I think my kid as well. But we've definitely guessed on the wrong side of that. I do think if you're, and you can't really do this with daycare, but we've definitely with friends, if we had plans with friends or there was a birthday party, just text and said like, my kid's had a runny nose. It's been like that for 4 weeks. I don't think they're sick, but like we've just told them and then they'll either say, oh, come on. Or like, oh, we like, you know what I mean? So we've checked ahead when we can. And God, one time to go see my wife's family, we were like, our kid threw up in the car on the way there. Had seemed fine. And we texted them and we were like, it could just be car sickness or I don't know. And they were all just like, you know what? Come on. It was like Thanksgiving or something. It was going to be a nice time. And they're like, just come on. And then like our 2-year-old took out like half of my wife's side of the family. Like people were dropping like flies, but you talked about it. So they were like, we said to come, like nobody was mad at us, It was rough though. I got that shit.
Nothing like a patient zero situation.
Oh, God,
that's why.
Yeah, we introduced the contagion in a big way.
We don't touch the vomit if you hear someone vomited, unless there is clear food poisoning, like you need to know.
Yeah, that shit spreads, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. So like norovirus, hand sanitizer does not kill it because it's alcohol based. And norovirus it's a non-enveloped virus. It has a hard outer shell. So like that needs soap.
I've always been a big fan of soap. I like soap.
So anyway.
Unscented, of course.
So this episode is brought to you by soap.
This episode is brought to you by the fourth fucking season of Milkless. We're almost at a hundo, buddy. But I'm excited about this season. We're going to do some new things. We're going to be talking more about like just kind of like happiness on the parent side. Because we talked a lot up to this point about how important that is for your kids, but we didn't actually talk that much about like what makes us feel good and not good. Yeah. I'd probably dip back into some masculinity stuff. We got some good guests coming up. Bettina Schultz-Job is an exciting one. We still have so much fun doing this. So tell your friends, because we're still making these and they're just getting better.
There we go. Good one, Matt. That was one that we might use.
Take 37.
The last little bit, because this episode came in from a listener, David. We won't say his last name, so we don't need to clear it.
Is it Robinson? I'd be stoked if it was David Robinson.
It was David Robinson, the Admiral.
Yeah, great.
No, it wasn't. That's a libel suit right there. I got law on the mind.
You're feeling litigious this evening.
Well, we're talking about medical stuff. Anyway.
It's a wild world out there. I do think it bears saying that like there's this thing that is happening where it's like the traditional wisdom about a lot of things is being challenged, and probably some of those things that really should be challenged because like the orthodoxy about what keeps people healthy has been wrong about some things. But then there's also like just a lot of fucking wackadoos trying to sell snake oil, right? But in convincing ways. And it feels hard to know as a parent, what of this shit should I be listening to? And with RFK, that's like front and center. It's like there's a lot of the orthodoxy that he's challenging. A lot of people are really psyched about that. But then a lot of people are like, yo, this guy's kind of a quack. So anyways, it's funny you're talking about like you're worried that we're going to get sued, but it does feel like we got to make really sure we don't say some bullshit. Because there's a lot of people out there selling stuff, you know?
That's why we're doing a lot of clarification. Last little thing before we jump into what David, the Admiral, had requested. Not the Admiral, the non-Admiral.
It's David Robinson. Just let it be David Robinson.
A different David Robinson.
For me. Let it be David Robinson for me.
So what David had requested is, how do you balance like daycare and school navigating the sickness? Because that's always tricky. But it usually kind of always falls on like one of the parents, I feel like. Because usually one of the parents has a slightly more flexible work schedule, who has the ability to work from home, that working from home with a sick kid is fucking jacked.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on when a kid stays home?
It's hard I do feel like it will be particular to every family. There's many families for whom, for almost every family, that just throws a huge fucking wrench in your plans. I don't really know a way around that except to like try to all take it easy on each other. And then if we got a sick kid and one of us has like a work call we can't miss, it's like, oh man, they're just going to watch like 7 Blueies in a row. Yeah. It's fine. Like today, that's fine. We're doing our best. It's like, take it easy on yourself. Don't try to still do everything perfect, you know?
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. And it's something that I thought about in prep for this episode is like, everything kind of goes out the window sometimes. Like, we're very good at sleep. I think we've kind of nailed sleep for a while. But then when kids get sick, there's always that feeling like, are we going to bring this kid back into the bed? we just got them out of the bed. What the fuck? Like, or, we're in such a good place. And, every family's different. But I think to your point, it's the time where look at what your child needs. And then it's like, if you take a couple steps backward, this is where like, oh, I was planning on having this, like most companies, if you have a work call, if the kid has to come in and bother you while they're sick, like I need you to help me with this. Like people are going to understand if you have the ability to work from home.
Yeah. I do think that was a positive outgrowth of COVID is you don't quite have to pretend so much like you don't have a life. But yeah, it's tricky. I don't know what the right answer is for how to navigate that other than, yeah, go easy on yourself, order takeout, make the kids' favorite food. The other thing is like, I don't like when they're sick like that. It's like, there's no enrichment to be had with this day. So they might as well just fucking kick it.
But there's that thought of like, well, if the kid stays home from school, it's like, well, you don't want it to be like too fun, right? It's like, but then on the other hand, I'm like, no, they're sick. They should just like, it all depends on their miserable factor. If they're just like kind of sick, but then they can't go to school, it's like, kind of want them to just like not have a ton of fun and like read and stuff. But then it's
you
like,
do make them take it easy if they're a little sick. Yeah.
If they're fucking rocked, then it's like whatever I can do to make their
movie
life.
Marathon and whatever food you want.
Well, one other thing, the guidance, again, get your own guidance from your fucking doctor. Stop listening to us.
Stop.
God damn it. But if you do want one more tip, obviously if your kid is not peeing, especially if they're in diapers, that's one other thing I forgot. Again, do your own fucking research. God damn it. But they need to be peeing. Like if a kid's not peeing, that's not good. If they have a fever, you know what I mean?
I think we just end the episode right there.
But god damn it, stop getting your fucking medical information from a podcast. What are you doing?
From two non-doctors on a podcast.
Also, guys, don't give aspirin to children. Even if it's called baby aspirin. That's not for babies, okay? That's just because it's small. Don't give aspirin to children or teens. It's just not good for kids. Did you not know that?
I didn't know that. But my wife probably did.
According to Stanford Children's.
This episode of Milkless is brought to you by Viola Archer in the case of the Purple Martin. Thank you. Bye.